Welcome to Mirror Domains Movie News, your place for entertainment headlines. It's December 26th, 2023, and Aquaman 2 has debuted at the box office. We'll take a look at that, guys. Today's going to be kind of a raw show, kind of a little bit different. We're not going to have our little sidebar here because hey, we're just flying by the seat of our pants today. Bifer in the live chat says, hey, and I forgot that I got to set up the YouTube live chat, James. There we go. And turn it on. Perfect. There. So, we got some topics to look at for sure, and we'll take a look at some box office results. We're going to do reviews for The Iron Claw and Rebel Moon. Later on today, I think I'm going out to see Ferrari, so I'll be able to have my straight out of the theater reaction for that one, hopefully later on tonight. And then, guys, this week is going to be a very busy week here on Mirror Domains. Well, for me, in my personal life. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, I am booked solid at other events and stuff. So I'm going to be, we'll be a little bit slower for this week. There's no Hell's Kitchen this week anyway, because it's off until next week. So it's kind of like, we'll try to do some live stuff. It just won't be consistently at this time this week. It's just for the next 4 days, I'm going to be a busy man. But we'll get through it. And if anything big breaks, then we'll definitely talk about it for sure. Let's just get into some headlines. Scream 7 director dropped. I guess this came out over the weekend. Christopher Landon exits the movie and issues a statement. So, Scream 7. We lost Melissa Barrera because she was fired because she was talking about some war that was going on in the world. Number 2, we lost Jenna Ortega because she's going to be filming Wednesday season 2. So we don't have the two main stars. Christopher Landon was still attached to direct. He did like Freaky and stuff like that, guys. But now he's done too, and it's kind of like, well, you were going to make a movie with Melissa Barrera and Jenna Ortega. Now that they're gone, what movie were you going to make, man? That's the way I looked at it. Christopher Landon exits anyway. So Scream 7, Spyglass Entertainment really blew the... they really messed things up there. They botched it. This is a fumble of monumental proportions. They completely ruined Scream 7. Because of what they did with Melissa Barrera. I believe that through and through. I don't care what anybody else says. But James, Jenna Ortega was going to take the time off anyway to be doing Wednesday season 2. Well, you know what? That's the PR thing. Do you believe that or not? We don't have evidence to say that she backed out because Melissa was fired, but... you could have just waited for Jenna Ortega to be done her shooting schedule for Wednesday and then booked her in to do Scream 7. I don't see why you wouldn't now, right? Well, anyway, we lost the director, we lost the stars. We don't know where this is going. I know that the casual people out there will be still like, well, come on, you can still get Neve Campbell back, James. Don't. But the casual people out there having their coffee, having their leftover eggnog and mulled wine from Christmas will be kind of like, oh yeah, well yeah, we can just get Neve Campbell back. She's not. No, guys, no. Remember, Spyglass burned their bridge with Neve Campbell. She's not coming back. They burned that bridge rather heavily. That she was like, no, I'm not having any of that. Thank you. Goodbye. I wish you good luck on the series. And they moved on. She moved on, right? So it's kind of like, unless they dump up a big truckload of money, which is kind of like, well, still it's... It just undermines their full purpose of not having her in the 6th movie anyway. So it's kind of like, yeah, guys, they need to rethink about what the heck they're going to do. Let it go for a couple of years. Let the PR blow over with Melissa Barrera. And if you want her back, I'm sure that's the only work she's going to get anyway. No other studios or pictures are going to work with Melissa Barrera. Because she doesn't, from what I understand, she still hasn't slowed down with her posture and her take. Which is fine. You can do whatever you want to do. But if you're putting your political views and your worldly views ahead of your career, that's what you're doing when you say, I'm standing up for my free speech. You want that or you want your career? That's the way I would look at it. And Melissa Barrera chose her speech. But James, that's not very nice of you to say. I know, for God's sakes, but that's just the way that it happened. And those are the breaks. Anyway, Langdon said, I guess now is a good time as any to announce I formally exited Scream 7 weeks ago. So this was a long time ago. He did. So this is just a public statement of it. This will disappoint some and delight others. Well, I don't know who would delight. It was a dream job that turned into a nightmare, and my heart did break for everyone involved. Everyone. But it's time to move on. I have nothing more to add to the conversation other than I hope Wes's legacy thrives and lives above the din of a divided world. What he and Kevin created is something amazing, and I was honored to have the briefest moment basking in their glow. Yeah, so people are grasping at straws. Let's take a look at what some of the comments are saying. This is maybe a sign that they should just leave it. Yeah, that's what I'd have to agree with. No more reboots, sequels, or reshoots, spin-offs. Well, reshoots are always going to be a thing. This is just this guy doesn't know what he's talking about, so I'll hit them thumbs down on that one. It's amazing that they managed to reignite passion for this horror franchise with a bunch of very popular young stars, including probably one of the biggest, Jenna Ortega. Yeah, and you blew it. Oh yeah, they blew it. Hollywood needs to stop worshiping what? Get out of here with that. Thumbs down. Get out of here. Let's block that. No, I can't block that. Just reboot it or whatever. Leave it the franchise alone. The more people leaving, less people will be interested in the project. Yeah. If you can't sell it, you're not gonna be able to like. Let's say you bring in Anya Taylor-Joy, Kiernan Shipka, and that girl from No One Will Save You. You brought all those people in. Maybe Anya Taylor-Joy would be enough to bring it around for people. Maybe, right? It's not connected to the story and the characters that we want to see continuing going forward. So what's the point, right? What's the point? All right. So we'll move on from that one. Joker 2 Folie à Deux is something that I'm looking forward to quite a bit. And we got some new images. Let's take a look. All right, guys, it's not much here. So it looks like they're in there's him in his cell. I guess this would be her looking at him and stuff, getting infatuated with him. James, I saw Anyone But You. I loved it. Yeah. Oh, that comedy. Guys, my schedule is just so busy this week. I want to be able to go and see theaters. We'll talk about that in a few minutes. We're talking about these Joker images. Okay, so the bottom one here, it looks like, I guess I can't make it bigger. No, it's not getting bigger. Okay, so he does have his Joker makeup on there, but his hair's not green. So it looks like for court, he was allowed to wear his Joker makeup, and she's there representing him or like trying to be his counsel or something like that. So we know that she turns into Harley Quinn because she's playing Harleen Quinzel there, right? I'm looking forward to this movie, and I'm glad that this one is going to stay on track. This is what I want to see, right? It's cool. I barely recognized Lady Gaga there, so that's cool. Joker 2 images, guys. Joker 2. What do you guys think about that stuff? I think it looks awesome. October 4th, 2024, guys. October 4th, 2024. October. Looking forward to it. Can't wait. I hope it knocks it out of the park just like the first one. All right. So before we get into the weekend's box office, I do want to talk about Iron Claw. So let's do that right now. Because I want to talk about when we get to the box office, right? Okay. We're rocking. We're rolling. We're rolling. The Iron Claw stars Zac Efron and Jeremy Allen White, and it's in theaters this weekend, guys. And I gotta tell you, The acting, of course, is a standout, but Zac Efron and Jeremy Allen White are the standouts here. It's about a group of brothers that wrestle, right? It's got Lily James in it there as well. But the immediate standout is that brotherhood, that grouping of them, of the four brothers, kind of like trying to survive their family and their father, basically, that's driving them to get in the ring. The Iron Claw, the true story of the inseparable Von Erich brothers who made history in the intensely competitive world of professional wrestling in the early 1980s. And yeah, you can see the four brothers there. I really liked that aspect of it, the family aspect of like, yeah, these four brothers, they're tight. And they grow up under the stern, I guess, tutelage or fathership of their old man, played by Holt McCallany. You guys will recognize this dude. He's played a lot of bad guys in the past. You'll recognize his face. So he plays the old man, and this is the best work that I've seen from him too, because he's got some dramatic chops. Oh yeah, he was in. He's the one. They killed Bob. They shot him in the head. Well, what did you think was going to happen? Anyway, he was that guy in Fight Club. He played the father role in this, and Moira Turney played the mother. Harris Dickinson played the older brother. The cast was really well done, but as I said, the standouts are Zac Efron and Jeremy Allen White. They brought it, man. They brought it. And this movie is 2 hours and 12 minutes, but when you come out of it, you're like, you feel bad because if you don't know the tragedy, basically they slowly die. The brothers die off due to different other reasons. And some of them are really just mishaps, accidents, kind of thing that you wish that, okay, you're bleeding, dude. Go get checked out from the doctor. No, I'm fine. That kind of stuff, right? And then it's kind of like, well, no, you're not fine. And it's kind of like, well, how does this family deal with it? And the father is just kind of like digs into his traditional upbringing kind of style, and that kind of almost fractures the family a little bit, right? It's kind of like, well, you're a man. Stand up for yourself. You don't behave like this. You don't cry, and you push through everything, right? And that kind of you can see that wear on Zac Efron's face throughout this movie. There's that doubt. There's that despair that comes in about halfway through when the brothers start dying. It's kind of like there's a pain constantly behind his eyes, and Zac Efron dialed into that masterfully. That's the way I felt, and I'm like, where's this dude been? It's like, what? This is the role that's going to make him, like, hopefully people will be like, okay, we're going to give you more dramatic roles because of this. He carries it, man, and he does a great job. You feel sorry for him too, because he's like, well, my family's cursed. He's together with Lily James, but it's kind of like he's worried that this curse is gonna like spill over to his own family, right? It does a great job of capturing all of that. So that's where I rank the Iron Claw. Let's go over into my preliminary score sheet and see where some of these numbers start to fill in. Acting, directing, and story are out of a possible 2 points each. Cinematography and score are out of a possible 1 point each. Cinematography, if it's well shot, it's 0.5. If it's got a serviceable score in the background, it's 0.5. And they both had that. So acting, as I said, Zac Efron was good. And so was Jeremy Allen White, and so was the father. Harris Dickinson was also really good. But because I really hope Zac Efron gets some kind of recognition for this from awards. I just think he's going to get buried by the token ship nominees, which kind of sucks because he's really good. He's really good in this, guys. And he does some embarrassing stuff, like having to walk around in his tighty whities for a couple of scenes in the movie, and it's like, oof, oof, oof. Anyway, directing. Competent directing. As I said, things are framed right. The pacing, you think that 2 hour runtime would be a bit of an issue, but I felt like it moved fairly smooth. There wasn't like a lull in here where we're like, okay, just move on. I want to see what's going on. There's nothing like that. The pacing was well done. So based on that, I would say 1.5 for the directing. Story, also compelling about the Von Erichs. Now, I'm not a historian here, guys, so I can't tell you exactly how accurate it was. But when there's a scene in here where they do have some recognizable fighters, like Ric Flair that comes in. And the guy that they got for Ric Flair, he does the strut and stuff like that. He does a woo like that. That got me back, Aaron. That got the nostalgia, right? Because that's I was a young man growing up in the late '80s, early '90s. So I knew the wrestling stuff, and that brought me back. That was just a little bit of fun for me. But on top of that, if you're there, the dramatic elements of this film should be enough to sink their claws into you. The iron claw, guys. Sorry about that. I'm sorry. Yeah, that was cheesy, James. But yeah, cinematography, well done. Score, like the fight. You know what? I'm gonna give cinematography a full point because there's stuff in the arena that's really well shot. The score, as I said, was serviceable. So we're sitting at about a 6.5 right now. Let me see if I can use that trailer to show you a little bit of highlights of stuff going on in the ring, of how well it was shot. Because it's not like a normal wrestling match where you got to have a static camera outside the ring. They were able to go in tight and bring you shots like this kind of thing. And it's like, wow, these guys put in the work to actually go into the ring and learn all of these moves, how to bounce off the buckles and stuff like that properly, right? Because you can, like, even though there's the guy that plays the Ric Flair. Even though that's like you're pseudo fake, you can still hurt yourself not doing things properly, right? The way that you would land on your shoulders and stuff like that, or you accidentally connect with too hard with something. These guys put in their work, and I would like to see behind the scenes stuff of them training for this, because that would be great. Sean Durkin directs, yeah. And this final shot here in the trailer of the brothers coming together and hugging, it's like there's a bunch of tragedy that also happens, but it's also kind of like, well, that's life. But it comes around for Zac Efron's character. It does. Okay, so let's go over to the tomato meter and see what people are saying about this. The Iron Claw, 87% by critics, 93% by the audience. So it's high up there, guys. And as I said, we're poised to be in that ballpark for sure. Let's go down and see what the snapshot reviews are saying and see if we agree with them. Let's take a look at the Chicago Reader, who didn't like it. If you're going to see a shallow movie, do it for shallow reasons. What are you talking about? Shallow movie? No, this is about brotherhood. This is about being raised and trying to stay the course of what your family patriarch lays out for you, isn't it? No? What are you talking about? New York Post didn't like it. Watching the Iron Claw can feel like getting slammed with a metal folding chair over and over again. No. Yeah, it's sad. Because that's what happened to the family, dude. What are you talking about? CTV Your Morning says, admirably restrained way, perhaps to a fault, while avoiding the tendency to milk every ounce of emotion or sensationalize the Von Erichs' tragedy. Durkin also misses the opportunity to say anything meaningful about their story. No, I think he does. I think he totally does. Because there's an arc there where Zac Efron is like the headstrong kind of, I do whatever my father tells me. I get up in the morning, I run, I train, I work hard, I believe what the old man was selling me. And then, he goes on to think about the curse and stuff like that, and he comes around to it all and just kind of learns to accept it, right? And go back with his family. And you can see that because of that, he has a really ripe future. But he was born out of turmoil and the tragedy of what happened to his family, kind of thing, right? I thought it was handled well. I did. So I disagree with some of these reviews here. Let's take a look at somebody else here. The days of underestimating Zac Efron are over. Yeah, I would say. Well, we know that he can do the comedy like Neighbors and stuff like that. But this is the more kind of work that I want to see from Zac Efron for sure. Okay, one more final one. Metro Weekly didn't like it. A soulful central performance by Zac Efron can't fill out the dead air otherwise wafting through the Iron Claw. No, I don't. I disagree. I totally disagree, because as I said, there's stuff in there like about the brothers and the father and even the mother, who seems played by Moira Turning, because they were raised in a different era. They look at parenting in a much different way, and that's perfectly conveyed in this movie. I like this movie, guys. I liked it a lot. So let's go over to the score sheet and round it up and see where I finally land on this. Watchability factor. If you're a wrestling fan, you'll want to check it out. If you're a Zac Efron fan, you want to check it out. So you want to see it at least once in the theater. But guys, I would watch this totally again. So that's 1.5 right there, right? 1.5. And I would be, you know what? I would even say that I would own this on Blu-ray. I'd add this to my collection because it's just that well done. 8.5 out of 10 for the Iron Claw. Yeah. Oh, no, James. I forgot. I wanted to mention this. I said that the score was serviceable, and it was. It was serviceable. But, this movie has a good soundtrack. The difference I use between score and soundtrack are that the score is kind of like the musical orchestral kind of stuff, but the soundtrack is like musical needle drops. And if you are from this era or you like 80s music, the needle drops in this are awesome. Really awesome. Like when they're walking up to the arenas and stuff like that, when they're getting into the ring, even in like stuff like this, when one of the brothers is riding off on his motorcycle. It's effective, man. So I am going to quickly change my score for the score value. And this is that going to bump it up to a 9? I think it will. Yes, it will. 9 out of 10 for 9 out of 10 for the Iron Claw. Yeah, that's it. That's where I stand. 9 out of 10. I liked it, man. It was a real fun time. Well, not fun time. It was just one of those movies where it's kind of like, when you're done watching it, that's a good movie. And I'm in that wheelhouse there, guys, with everybody else. I'm a little bit higher than the critics. I'm in between the critics and the audience score there. 9 out of 10 for me, for the Iron Claw. What did you guys think? If you saw it, let me know in the comments below, and we will talk about it. If you like this kind of stuff. Later on today, my review for Rebel Moon will be up on the channel. We're doing that one next. So pay attention to that. We just went from a good movie to a bad movie. So I'll leave a link to that up in the cards there for you guys to follow. But if not, hey, come join us here on Mirror Domains Movie News. We do lots of cool stuff here. We do movie news, live shows. There are my other social medias. So come join us for that. And see you next time on Mirror Domains. All right, let's take some live comments here. Viper's there in the live chat. Whoops. Viper says, Iron Claw was top film of 2023 for me, Viper says. Yeah, it's good, man. It is. Emotionally, for maybe it's because I just knew some of the wrestlers and stuff like that, right? What it did for me, it made me want to go back right after it and go on YouTube and find the real matches, right? And watch them. I believe you believe in the Von Erich curse? Yeah. Yeah, it just sucks, man. But I like the brotherhood relationship. I do. And I felt that was very effective. There's an article up on Joe Blow that I pulled for this. Wrestlers that deserve a biopic. Well, we know that we're getting a Hulk Hogan biopic with Chris Hemsworth playing the Hulkster. I don't know how that's going to work. I hope they go into dealing with the uh, the steroids, because apparently Hulk was uh, Hogan was the guy that you went to get that stuff. He admits that, right? He fully admits that. But let's see what else. Who else? Who would you guys like to see a biopic of a wrestler? Georges, uh, Gorgeous George. Okay, so he was just before my time, I think. Chris Benoit. Now he was after my time. He was after I stopped watching. Um, I stopped watching as Undertaker and Kane were just coming onto the scene. I think I watched maybe 1 or 2 years with Undertaker. Yeah, because I liked him in the Royal Rumbles and stuff like that. Benoit was just coming in around the time that I was starting to get out, I think. Uh, yeah, some of them will have tragic story. He had a tragic story, right, Benoit? After taking shots to the head, yeah, brain damage, and that's what you're going to see. Eddie Guerrero. Don't remember him. The Fabulous Moolah. Don't know that. Brian Danielson. The one that I'm worried that they're showing is one of the Hart brothers, right? Because that's another tragic one. Bret Hart. Yeah, the Hart Foundation. Owen, right? He fell. Um, yeah, that's another one. That would be a tough watch. Macho Man, yeah. The thing is who are you gonna find to play Macho Man to do that? Oh yeah, cup of coffee. Come, yeah. How would you do that? I can't do that voice because I would wreck my vocal cords. No, I can't do it. Roddy Piper. Yeah, he was. I grew up watching Macho Man and Roddy Piper. Ric Flair. Yeah, and it was what was cool about the Iron Claw movie was that you could see that they were struggling with the showmanship of it all, right? And then when you got somebody like Flair, who could sell it, he knew what he was. He knew that he wasn't the biggest, strongest guy, but he had the clout, the arrogance, and that's what Ric Flair was really good at doing, right? And the guy who played him did a great job of capturing that too. As I said, when he does the strut, it's just like, yeah, that's him. Yeah, Hulk Hogan. We know we're getting that one. Is that it? Hmm. Uh, Pfeiffer says he wants Dusty Rhodes. Ventura. That one would be juicy too. Jesse Ventura biopic. Uh, Jesse the Body Ventura, because he started wrestling, and then he went to commentating with McMahon, right? And then they had a bit of a falling out, and that got spicy, right? Between him, it actually got really bitter between Ventura and McMahon. So yeah, there's some stories there to tell for sure. All right, guys, do we have one? No, we can start talking about some box office results here. But this article first, because we're going to be talking about Aquaman. Peter Safran gives update on Momoa's DCU future. Well, we know that James Gunn and James Gunn is taking over and rebooting the DCU, and Peter Safran is also going to be on board with that, helping to do that. So he was asked about Momoa from the Independent, and all he responded was with "We'll see what happens with his role as Aquaman in the DCU." However, Safran has kept the door open to future roles, noting that Momoa always had a home at Warner Bros. We'll see what happens with him beyond it. I know that Jason will always have a home at DC and Warner Bros. In fact, his next movie is Minecraft, says Safran. If it if it's the end of the journey, fine. If it goes on, that's also fine. What I hope is that people will really be here to support him on his journey. While people still think that Momoa is going to be Lobo, although we got that report last week where almost from Safran or like other producers is like, that may not be the case, guys. And it all depends on how well Aquaman 2 did at the box office, right? So let's get into that now. It's Tuesday. Wow, it doesn't even feel like Tuesday, but Monday was Christmas. So we're going to take a look at the weekend's box office report that will get adjusted. Because people say, well, it's a 3-day weekend, but it's really 4 days because most people will still count Boxing Day today as a holiday. So it is the Christmas long weekend. And then things will kind of like bleed over for the 29th and the 31st weekend, this next coming weekend, because Color Purple, musical, and Ferrari already dropped today as well. So let's go in and take a look at the weekends for this weekend, for December 22nd to the 24th. Number 1 was Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. Number 2 was Wonka. Number 3 was Migration. Number 4 was Anyone But You. And number 5 was Solar. What the heck is Solar? Never even heard of it. And the Iron Claw didn't crack the top 5. It came in at number 6. So, first of all, what the heck is Solar? A gang leader tries to keep a promise made to his dying friend and takes on another criminal gang. I'm sorry. That wasn't even on my radar. That's a Hindi film, right? All right. And then, of course, number 4 that I thought was going to be in the 6th spot was Anyone But You, the Glenn Powell, Sydney Sweeney comedy. Yeah. The Bifer said was good. Solar is the sequel to KGF, starring Prabhas? What? That has Prabhas in it? So it doesn't have Yash? If that's a sequel? Huh. Wow. You know what, if they didn't copyright strike my trailer reactions, Mirror Domain's India channel would still be going. Just, I don't know what the heck they were doing. I don't know. Part 1, Ceasefire. Well, you know, guys, you know how I feel about part 1s and movies getting broken up into 2 parts. I don't like it. I was on board with it at first because I thought that the creators would be strong enough to marshal that, but Rebel Moon and Fast 10 have proven that you can't break it up into 2 parts. You just don't know what you're doing if you do that. Anyway, that may not be the case with Solar. Migration was the kids movie that opened up in the 3rd spot. Wonka in the 2nd spot with 18 million. That's good. But let's go and take a look at Aquaman's numbers. Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. 40 million domestically, 80 internationally, for a worldwide total of 120 million on a budget of 205 million. So a $205 million budget plus marketing plus what the theaters would have to take. What are we looking at, James? 400? The marketing campaign was fairly extensive. Yeah, around 400 to break that. But guys, there's also something else here that we got to consider. This movie was supposed to be out last year, not 2023. This movie was supposed to be out in 2022. This movie was ready to come out not 2 Novembers ago, in 2022. But it sat on the shelf. It was like kind of like, oh, we got to go back and retool some reshoots. And then it just kept on getting pushed and pushed and pushed. There were some scenes in there with Batman that got cut out because there was going to come out before The Flash. It was supposed to. Anyway, because of that, they would incur some penalties, like interest payments and stuff, right? So I would hazard that maybe 450 million to break even. It's definitely around the 400 to 450. Now, is it on pace? Well, as I said, what else is coming out this week? You got Ferrari. That's not going to make a big dent in it. That's more of a smaller art house film. But you do have The Color Purple, which does have the potential to knock it off of its seat from the number 1 spot. just, yeah, I don't see it going that deep. If the releases in January are a little bit slow, we start off with a horror movie in January anyway. It could have potential to have some staying power, but not much. That's the way I would look at it. Um, will it break even? Probably not. But we were all braced for it to be a bomb anyway, so um, that's the way I'm looking at it. And uh, people people were responding to it. Um, Rather harshly on the tomato meter by the critics, but the audience wasn't as bad, right? 79% there by people who liked it, and I had, like guys, it was not a good movie, but it's kind of like Mortal Kombat in the way that yeah, it's not a good movie, but there are some aspects in there that I liked. I liked the brotherhood of Orm and Aquaman, and that had a lot to do with Patrick Wilson. So we'll have to see if it has some staying power. I wouldn't hold my breath on it. Wonka holding on in the second spot. That's good. 256 worldwide. Awesome. Uh, that's broken even. Wonka budget 125 million. Now that's what you need to see more of going forward, guys. No more of this 200 million BS. So Wonka, 125 million budget. It's broken even now. Marketing and what theaters take, it's broken even. It's now making profit, and it's going to have some staying power. It really depends on how people are responding to The Color Purple, which is doing well. 89%, 94% by the audience. So I'm saying Color Purple and Wonka together because they're both musicals. They both have songs in them. So yeah, and I hear good things about Color Purple. I'm prioritizing Ferrari before I go see Color Purple because I like Michael Mann, I like Shailene Woodley, and I hear that Penelope Cruz does a good job in this. I know it may be a bit of a slower burn, but in a past life, I guess maybe I was a gearhead or something. I don't know. I'm curious about this story. 2 hours and 10 minutes. That gives me pause a little bit though. But Adam Driver, I want to see that one. All right. Migration kids movie, 12 million. That'll stay up there. Anyone But You. That one caught my eye. Let's talk about this one. This is that rom-com. 8 million domestically. That's compelling. Anyone But You. Let's take a look at that. 25 million. 25 million, 8 million opening. We don't have some international numbers yet, but let's take a look at the tomato meter. 49% by critics, 86% by the audience. I haven't really watched Sydney Sweeney in anything, so I kind of I'm curious about it. 143. Maybe I can ask somebody to go see that with me. Could I? I don't know. I don't know if I can handle the rejection. 49% by the critics. So the fans are liking it. Critics, of course, have to pick apart like the story structure and stuff like that. I do want to see Sydney Sweeney before her appearance in Madame Web. Movie Freak liked it. The refreshingly adult Anyone But You is much ado about something special. Okay. A little bit of Shakespeare in there, you think, huh? Newsday didn't like it. Anyone But You might pass muster as a pleasant holiday season diversion, but it also is a reminder that even the most dazzling smiles and perfect bodies can't sustain a 2-hour movie. Is it 2 hours? What? No. An hour and 43 minutes. What are you talking about? But James, it's almost close. No, an hour and 43. That's with credits, so it's probably like an hour and 35. That's in my wheelhouse. That's the way I like to see things. What are you talking about, man? All right, next. The Daily Beast. No, we don't use that site. DC Film Girl. Glenn Powell and Sydney Sweeney evaluate the rom-com genre in the sweet and funny modern-day telling of Shakespeare, Much Ado About Nothing. Is that what it's based on? Is this based on Much Ado About Nothing. The edgy comedy. Brief graphic nudity. Well, I'm not strange to seeing nudity. I'm not opposed to seeing nudity, I suppose. I just watched Poor Things, which had nudity almost every 5 minutes. But anyway, after an amazing first date, Bea and Ben's fiery attraction turns ice cold until they find themselves unexpectedly reunited at a destination wedding in Australia. So they do what two mature adults would do: pretend to be a couple. I got nothing against Glenn Powell. And as I said, I'm curious about seeing Sydney Sweeney. I guess I could check this out. It won't be tomorrow or today, guys. It'll be like maybe on Sunday I'll be able to check it out. But I'll get to it before I publish my final list of the year. Anyone But You is like Jennifer Lawrence adult rom-com. And oh, okay, cool. Cool, Bifer. I really liked the Jennifer Lawrence one, right? I did. All right. Is that all about the box office? Yeah. Guys, the box office will be adjusted a little bit because, as I said, today's really a holiday for a lot of people too. So these numbers will get bumped around perhaps a little bit. All of Us Strangers had 4 theater release. Memory, Freud's Last Session. I do want to see Freud's Last Session, where Freud talks with author C.S. Lewis and debate the existence of God. It's got Anthony Hopkins in it. Yeah, have to check that one out. Maybe that'll be playing at the Art House Theater. But probably not. Let's just take a look. Poor Things, Poor Things, Poor Things. Poor Things, Poor Boy and the Heron. Maestro. Maestro is on Netflix. Why would you go to the theater to see it? All Poor Things. Okay. And they don't have next year's schedule out yet. Oh, no, they do. Poor Things. Good. So if you... yeah, you knew that the art house would be all over Poor Things. But guys, I want to see other things too. All right. I think that's it for box office, right? Yeah, that's it. Let's take a look at this poll. Poll is up on Joe Blow. Most overrated movie of 2023. This is going to be juicy. Let's take a look at some of their picks. Cocaine Bear. No, that's not overrated. Creed 3, Scream 6, John Wick 4, Super Mario. Oh, Evil Dead Rise was slightly overrated to me, and I think that's why I had such a... I didn't come out liking it as much, but I'm going to go back and revisit it. Are You There, God Meets Margaret? No, Sisu. I miss Sisu. Sisu's still on my must-see list. Theater Camp, Little Mermaid, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, Elemental, Asteroid City. Most overrated movie, huh? That means it was rated high, so high that when you went to see it, you were expecting a masterpiece, and it was kind of like, ugh. So I basically described that situation with Evil Dead Rise, because everybody who went out and saw it was like, "This is the best thing ever." It's almost even better than the original movies, and it's like, seriously, guys? Okay. And then when I came out, I was like, that's not even close. So that's by default is going to be my choice probably. Oppenheimer's not overrated. Barbie's not overrated. Talk to Me's not overrated. I haven't seen Bottoms yet. I still need to see that. Still need to see Anatomy of the Fall. Taylor Swift is not overrated. And I got the poster as a Christmas present. She's sitting right there. I got a new poster for Tay Tay. And I see her all the time now when I'm doing my show. All right. She's my inspiration, my muse. Killers of the Flower Moon. That may be overrated for, I think the majority of people are going to pick Killers of the Flower Moon. It's 4 hours, it's like 3 hours and 40 minutes. For God's sakes, Martin Scorsese. Again, if you can't tell a cohesive narrative in 2 hours, what is the extra hour and a half going to do for you? Right? And as I said, it was a polarizing movie for people of indigenous backgrounds, but it's also a movie where it's kind of like, because of the length, it's long, right? You have to have some kind of endurance in you to go through it. I came out and I respected the acting, I respected the direction, the production design. It's not going to be one of my favorite. It's not even going to be on the top 20 of the year list for me, guys. Five Nights at Freddy's, nah. Holdovers, nah. Thanksgiving, haven't seen Maestro, Poor Things, Wonka. My pick will be Evil Dead Rise. Let's submit the vote and see where things land. Evil Dead Rise all the way down there, 31 votes. So I'm not even in the wheelhouse of the majority of opinions. Sound of Freedom. Taylor Swift overrated? No. Barbie. Barbie was overrated. Well, $1 billion worth plus says otherwise, guys. Oppenheimer overrated? No. But my pitch there, I thought Killers of the Flower Moon would be up there in the near the top. Yeah. Curious. Next. Cameron Diaz defends Jamie Foxx and back in action set rumors. Cameron Diaz speaking out against rumors surrounding her return movie, Back in Action, and her co-star Jamie Foxx. Yeah, she's coming out of she took time off to spend time with her family, right? Raising her kids. There's nothing wrong with that. And I'm glad to see that Jamie Foxx is going to get back from his health scare. So what is going on here? Diaz, who hadn't released a movie since 2014. Yeah, we knew all about that. I just said that. So in an interview with Hollywood Reporter, she said, quote, I really hate all of the things that were being said about our set. You just want to scream at the top of your lungs, like, what are you talking about? She said. The hiccups that happened throughout the production are natural kinds of things that happen, but not just got delayed other than obvious things towards the end. So what, was there some kind of gossip going around that's saying that there was some odds between them? Were they beefing? What the heck is going on here? Jamie Foxx was the cause for a miserable on-set environment. Huh. Jamie Foxx? Really? That's not like any reports that I've ever heard. So she defends it, right? So she's defending Jamie Foxx, saying that no, that's not the case. Okay, good. Yeah. On Fox himself, Diaz is nothing but love. Jamie is the best. I love that guy so much. He's such a special person. And he's so talented and so much fun. We have so much fun on set with him, and he's just a professional on every level. Yeah, that's what I heard. That's what I hear. No comments. Okay. Yeah. So this movie, Back in Action. Let's. I'm gonna blind. Okay, good. The Back in Action title search. I didn't. I couldn't show the Google of it. I just in case it showed something a little bit more different. Back in Action by Seth Gordon. A woman who has been retired for 6 years comes back smarter and stronger than ever. Retired from what? Andrew Scott, Kyle Chandler, Glenn Close. Good cast. Tom Brittany. Fascinating. Lee Cronin. What? No, Lee Charles. Sorry. I was like, what the heck? The guy who directed Evil Dead Rise? No. All right. A woman who has been retired for 6 years comes back smarter and stronger. Probably some kind of assassin or something, right? She can do it. She can do action. We know that. But she's also got dramatic chops. So I'm looking forward to seeing her back in the on the big screen. Next, Michael Mann shoots down odd heat rumor about Robert De Niro and Al Pacino. Michael Mann is explaining not only that Pacino and De Niro were on set together during the coffin scene, but how it was shot. What, people disputed that they weren't on set together? What? Guys, if you know anything about Heat, you know that the hotel scene, or sorry, the restaurant scene is iconic. So iconic that And if you follow the commentary, Michael Mann described it that when he shot it, they were like, well, should we take it from all these weird different angles and stuff like that? And Hugh said, nope, we're just going to put two cameras. We're going to have one wide shot to establish it, and then it's just going to be just one on De Niro, one on Pacino. That's the way I always understood the situation. And I guess what people are saying that because of that they weren't really they weren't really there together. No, I don't buy that. But for some reason or another, long been the question by some or whether or not De Niro and Pacino were actually on set together. No, they were. And Pacino even talks about it, how they were on set together. So I don't know what you were smoking or who came up with this. Should we just dismiss it? Do we need to go any further down this rabbit hole? Uncle Man said what it was, there's actually three cameras, and you're wearing on your chest is the third camera was shooting, which was the profile 2 shot. I never used it because every time I went to that shot, it removed us and made us as observers of the two men. Yeah, so that's what I'm talking about. One camera was on Pacino and one was on De Niro. He didn't want to use the wide shot all the time because it felt like it took you out of the intensity of their back and forth. Yeah, so it's just a misread by casual fans who didn't quite understand exactly what was going on in that scene. We got to watch that someday, guys. We will. It's by far one of my favorite cops and robbers movies. Next, Rebel Moon 2 trailer. Zack Snyder's two-part Netflix epic ends with the Scargiver finale. Oi. Oi. Now, guys, we did a full live reaction to Rebel Moon, and I was disappointed, man. I was let down, and it sucks because I had the highest hopes for it. I like Zack Snyder. I really like Sofia Boutella, but it's just at the end of it, I was just so frustrated. Zack Snyder has an idea for another Rebel Moon spinoff. Was there going to be a first spinoff? Guys, this is not going to have a spinoff. Yeah. 24% by critics, 65% by the audience. The audience score is going down. This is a movie that I have no interest in watching ever again. This is a movie that I have no interest in watching the extended cut. I will watch part 2 because I want closure. And if part 2 somehow brings it up again, then I will go back and revisit the extended cut if we ever get that. But let's get ready for my formal review of this Snyder cut. Sorry. All right. This is going to be a quick one, guys, because there's not much to be said from Rebel Moon that already hasn't been said. When you get something juicy, I'll save it for that. All right. Zack Snyder's Rebel Moon is out on Netflix, guys, and it's rare that an opportunity comes along this juicy that fans come together on such, the same level to tear this movie a new one. This movie is terrible. It's not that good, and it's not good for a multiple of reasons. Visual effects wise, it's mediocre. It's dare I say subpar. Some of the shots look okay, but a lot of it's done on green screen stages. World building, it is not. I watched this because of Sofia Boutella. I knew that she could do action, that she could do stunt work, and she does some, but some of the stuff that you see her do in it, when you stop and think about it, it's kind of like, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Why are they doing that? We know that this movie was pitched as kind of like Zack Snyder's version of Star Wars, and it's lackluster, man. All right, now, as I said, everybody's going to be saying that, so how am I going to be a little bit different? I want to showcase some scenes here for you guys that highlight exactly what I'm talking about. So this is a showcase of some bad acting.
To make you an offer.
Okay. And I want this to go permanently on the record as case one for bad acting.
Your chance at redemption.
I am beyond redemption.
I have no time for pity.
Yeah.
What?
So you hear it there. And it sucks because Sofia Boutella she's got charisma about her, right? You look at her and you're like, I want to see what she's doing. But that line delivery, I got no time for pity. Like she was, I think it was Zack Snyder just didn't know how to direct her. He wanted to work with her, I'm guessing likes, yeah, you look at her and you want to see what she's doing, but apparently that line delivery is terrible. And that's stuff like that's littered throughout from all of the characters in this movie. We got cringeworthy accents that are in this, nonsensical stuff. It just gets, oof. And then, of course, everything that everybody else is saying about this is the slow motion. This movie is bogged down with slow motion. Okay, so there's a big ship that's attacking. Okay, I understand that you want to have this like cool shot of you jumping across, but I don't know why everything else up to it has to be slow motion, right? I don't understand that. Like, why is he running up this thing? Why does that have to be slow motion? Okay. I said this in my full live reaction while we were watching it. This is a cool shot. Okay, if you want to slow it down for that part of it, that's fine. But for the most part, as movie watchers, we're cognizant enough and aware enough that, okay, even if this was in normal motion, our eyes would still catch and say, oh, that was a cool shot. But a lot of people found this hammy, cheap, and kind of like way overdone. So like, well, this is the big climax of the movie. Again, why do we need to see you slow motion running up this platform? I don't get it. So the overuse of the slow motion, it's just, you want to pull your hair out by the end of it, right? He sucks out all the dramatic wind of this. And I know that there are the hardcore Snyder fans out there that will love anything that he does, regardless of the quality being presented to them. I gotta call it for what it is. I'm a movie fan first, guys. I care about movies first, and I care about story structure. I care about the characters, and I can't tell you one name of the characters other than Korra, right? Rebel Moon Part 1. What's it about? Right? This movie, like, it tells you that it's a corralling of getting this group of fighters together, but things are so disjointed. I got lost. They're going, oh, right, we're supposed to be doing that, right? Because it does take some side steps. You've heard me talk about this before, where a movie will take a tangent and it'll be kind of like, we have to go down there and learn about that. I just recently talked about that in Poor Things. But with Poor Things, you want to go and discover what was going on down there. With Rebel Moon, it's kind of like, no, please, don't take us away from the main story. We're talking about some weird princess that we never saw or has no bearing on the rest of the story. So why are we talking about that? Anyway, the synopsis reads, when a peaceful settlement on the edge of a distant moon finds itself threatened by the armies of a tyrannical ruling force, a mysterious stranger living among its villagers becomes their best hope for survival. A new hope? Guys, there are already tons of comparisons comparing the plot of Star Wars to this. It's just better. Star Wars is better done. Zack Snyder, I don't know what you're doing in this. Charlie Hunnam, Jaimin Hansu's in this. Ed Skrein or Screen, however you pronounce it. Ray Fisher, Bay Duna, and the guy Gunner that you're supposed to like or is along with he starts off by betraying. It's just no. You're not rooting for any of the characters, and I wouldn't be rooting for Korra if it wasn't played by Sofia Boutella. Tarek was interesting, but I couldn't tell you the names of like them while I was watching it. It just zooms. It's a mess. It's a huge mess. That being said, let's pull up my score sheet and get into where I will rank this movie. So, guys. Ranking this, acting, directing, and story are out of a possible 2 points each. Cinematography, score, 1 point each. But cinematography, as I said, all the blue screen stages and stuff, green screen stages, no, I'm not going to award that a full point. Score, soundtrack, really, really lackluster. Like you would expect when you see the ships go by and stuff like that, like good bombastic kind of like, doesn't have to be exactly like Hans Zimmer or John Williams, but you want that kind of like, and you never got that. So acting, because of the bad acting, guys, I'm gonna give 0.5. I and that hurts, man. That hurts. Directing, 0.5. You're lucky you're getting that, Zack Snyder. Story, you're going to hear this from everybody else. It's just a hodgepodge of lifting the story from all these other different places. And it's kind of like, well, that's from Star Wars. Yes, you can be inspired from stuff. You can use elements from other places. James Cameron does that all the time. That's why people say that Avatar's just Dances with Wolves or Ferngully. That's fine that they use that. But he didn't just outright lift things straight from like the cantina scene from Star Wars, right? That's exactly what Rebel Moon did. And it's kind of like, this isn't an original. This is boring. What's going on with the story? Why are we here? What's the... Oh, yeah, and then when you get that married in with the acting, yeah, you're hurting me here, Zach. You're hurting me. So, yeah, that's where I'm thinking for my preliminary score. Let's go over and take a look at the tomato meter, because as I said, when this came out, it was like 17% by the critics, but it has climbed up a little bit. So 24% by the critics, 65% by the audience, and that's been going down over the last weekend here, as people have been home over the Christmas break watching this. This was one of my most anticipated movies of the year. I watched the little snapshot of it in the announcement trailer from Netflix in January, and I was like, I wanted to see this. This looks like it's going to be right up our alley, guys. I love sci-fi. I love Sofia Boutella. Zack Snyder's cool. This should be good, right? This should be... yeah, and it was like pulling teeth. If I wasn't watching it, doing a live reaction to this, guys, we did a full live reaction to this here on YouTube, right here on the channel Mirror Domains. It's one of those movies that maybe I would have definitely hit the fast forward button. But it was an experience. We got through it. Let's take a look at the snapshot reviews. From the Observer UK, the story is a derivative mess that feels as though it was assembled from bits of plot picked off of carcasses other than better films, or glued together with brain-numbing, pace-killing chunks of exposition. Irish Times didn't like it. There are endless hunks of spoken exposition. Oh yeah, it's like, let's pause now while I fill you in with some backstory that takes us away from the main story that doesn't really have to have any relevance right now, but it's going to set us up for part 2 later on when we see it in April. So yeah, I get that. There are a lot of space travel, a great many uninteresting people that are introduced by the first hour, all narrative dive and slackened into a limp connecting thread. Did anybody like this? Anybody? Anybody at all? Okay, Dum Dums likes it. Getting right down to it, it is entertaining. An entertaining mess with a bevy of problems in the character department, but still somewhat fun. You're being generous, dude. But hey, to each his own. Sean Chandler, a respected fellow YouTuber. As a fan of Zack Snyder's Star Wars and space fantasy, I wanted to love this film. Me too, man. Me too. But it's simply not good enough in its current form. There's some inspired moments, but the story and script are devoid of any creativity. Ooh, that's gotta hurt. That's gotta hurt. Somebody else who liked it. Forbes. Rebel Moon is an entertaining but flawed space opera with some great action and cinematography that would have been better as the first part of an R-rated trilogy. Hopefully part 2 builds on the opening film strengths. I don't know what strengths those would be, though, dude. So, obviously, I'm not going to be as low as the critics there, but I'm not going to be as high as the audience. I think my initial reaction to it was kind of like, what did I say, 6? And I was trying to be generous. Um, I don't know if I can go with the 6, guys. Let's round out this review because yeah, we don't need to beat a dead horse here. Watchability factor. If you're a Snyder fan, you want to check this out. If you're a Star Wars fan, you're curious about it. Oh, granted, like watchability factor is 0.5 is for an interesting premise. Like you want to check it out for some mere curiosities. But for the most part, most people will want to check it out once because of either they're Zack Snyder fans, they're sci-fi fans. They want to see what all the commotion is. Why does this movie suck so bad? That's curious. But I definitely can't recommend watching it more than twice, more than once. Sorry. So 4.5, that's where I stand. That's where I stand. 4.5 for Rebel Moon. And I hope I gave you enough evidence and talked about some of the points to justify that ranking. It's going to be one of the most disappointing. Yeah, no, it is. Hands down. The most disappointing movie of the year. Rebel Moon. There it is with a bullet. 4.5 out of 10. Rebel Moon, what did you guys think? Did you see it? Let me know in the comments below and we will talk about it because it's one that's getting torn apart and Zack Snyder he's got a bit of a delusion going on where he thinks that he can make spin-offs about this, that he's got director's cuts of this, and people are just they're not having it, dude. You need, I don't know, it almost feels like an editor needs to come in without Zack Snyder's input, and that's it. The producers need to, like, he can direct what's on set and stuff, but don't have him in the editing room. Zack Snyder should be banned from being in an editing room because all he seems to be able to do is say, let's slow that down just a little bit, guys. We need a little bit of slow motion here. Of a dude running up a shaft. Ugh. And that sums up Rebel Moon. Okay? All right, guys, if you like this kind of stuff, I just reviewed Iron Claw. Now, that was a good movie. That's up on the channel right now. My reviews for Aquaman and The Lost Kingdom is also up on the channel. And my full reaction for Rebel Moon. Movie reviews for Poor Things, Wonka, finale of Survivor Season 45, Hell's Kitchen Episode 11. Of course, then we do movie news throughout the week where we talk about all the trending big movie news headlines of the day. And this will be chopped up, and Iron Claw will be put up on the channel as well later on. I'll leave a link to the Iron Claw up here. Guys, if you like what you've seen, hit that thumbs up button, subscribe, and I'll see you next time on Mirror Domains. Okay, so that will be cut out and put up on the channel. Let's take some live chats here from Pfeiffer, who says, Rebel Moon Part 1, 2 hours depicting the band, getting the band together. Yeah. Unfortunately, man, it's just, yeah, like when I came home from Christmas dinner last night, that's all I saw on YouTube was just people tearing this movie a new one. It was kind of like comparisons of this. Okay, Corey Coleman from Double Toasted, who liked it. Really? Okay. Rebel Moon Part 1 isn't terrible, but it's derivative of so many other sci-fi and fantasy films. So he was being generous. He probably got invited to like a premiere or something. I don't know. Film Threat didn't like it. Yeah, Film Threat. I watched his. I want to know if Perry Nemiroff, because I trust her judgment. Is she on here yet? Maybe not. Yeah, but it's going to be the most disappointing of the year. For me, it will be. All right. I can't feel anymore in there. All right. Is that it? Yeah. All right. Let's go over to the Twitterverse and see if I missed anything. Color Purple debuts with 18.1. Yeah, so Color Purple will be number 1 next weekend, guys. Domestic box office tied with Les Miserables, second highest opening day. So yeah, Color Purple. And then I think Wonka will hang in there as the number 2, and then Aquaman will drop down to number 3, and then Ferrari number 4, and then what was, and then Migration number 5. No, Migration will. I don't know. We'll see. We'll play that on Friday. We'll still be doing shows throughout the week. They just won't be as well. They'll be pretty much just like this. It'll be raw. It won't be as formal. Next. Lily Gladstone says, one of the first things I spent my allowance on was the double VHS set of Titanic. Okay. Danielle Brooks is receiving acclaim for her performance in Color Purple. Issa Rae, and I need to see American Fiction too. I'm gonna have to track down seeing that. Ferrari debuts. Yep. Soul. 16 years ago was There Will Be Blood. 16 years ago. Wow. Todd Phillips. New look at Joker. Yeah, we opened with that. New look at Joker. Yeah, I like that one. That's the one I tried to make bigger, but I can't. I like this one a lot. Weird dress by her. Promising Young Woman. Adam Driver and Penelope Cruz in Ferrari. Yeah, I want to see this tonight. I do. I want to see this. She looks angry there, right? Because he's having an affair or something, right? On her. Like it's her and him are married. Archie Madekwe and Jacob Elordi in Saltburn. Coleman Domingo, Color Purple. I hear good things about him too. I want to see that movie, I guess. Raji P. Henson. First look at Zack Snyder's Rebel Moon Part 2. Do people really care about this? Only 800 people care. Ferrari's now playing in theaters. Dreamgirls. Costume designer Stacy Batat on the set of Priscilla. It did have some good costumes. And there's Sofia Coppola. That was a sleeper hit for me, I think. Priscilla. You thought it would be boring. You thought it would be kind of redundant stuff from the Elvis movie. But no, it was. They did a really good job of showing it from her perspective. They did. Bridgerton season 3. Danielle Brooks. Fantasia Barrino. Yeah, she's the one that's getting the most acclaim right now. But it seems like other people, Danielle Brooks also gets some acclaim. Jeremy Allen White and Harris Dickinson photographed on Ironclaw. That's a good photo. I like the black and white. Yeah, I like Harris Dickinson. He transformed into that role. It was a good couple of scenes in. I was like, oh my God, that's Harris Dickinson. I totally forgot about that. Yeah. Color Purple is 88% on Rotten Tomatoes. Bridgerton, more Bridgerton stuff. Greta Gerwig's, okay, yeah. We don't have a whole lot here. But we've been going for an hour and 15 minutes. Oh my God, Jesus. Guys, I still got to have my breakfast and get out and start doing some other stuff. So with that being said, thank you very much for joining me here on Mirror Domains. It is a nice, fun little Boxing Day movie show I still got to go out and do family stuff today anyway, too. And then try to get back to the theater on time to see Ferrari tonight if I can, and then get up early tomorrow to get over to work and do a whole bunch of stuff. Hey, you don't want to hear about that. Just go and have a fun time, guys. Enjoy your holiday season here. And I wish you all the best from here at Mirror Domains.